Okay, and I think we're live.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, Joanna Rochester, Wellness Renegade, and we are here with Real Talk Spirituality at Speak Up and Empower. Just 1 second. Okay, and so, sorry, that didn't catch on my thing, so I'm just going to repeat it. Real Talk Spirituality at Speak Up and Empower. Real Talk is an online membership-based community of people that are gathered together that are heart-centered and focused on creating a vision of the world that they see for themselves. Speak Up and Empower is an amazing community, and if you want more information about us, please reach out. But Joanna Rochester, I am a energy coach, a homeopath, nutritionist, speaker, and an author, but I'm here with Yolandi Viljoen, is that right? Did I get it? Okay. From South Africa, and Yolandi is an amazing coach, a coach for people that, a spiritual coach for business owners, entrepreneurs. So she brings the spirituality, she takes the woo-woo out of the spirituality and helps you to become a success by tapping into your spirituality. So thank you for being here today, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
So tell me a bit more about yourself. How did you come to realize that spirituality was so important from the business perspective?
Well, I got introduced to spirituality with your business about a year ago. And as I went through it, I invested in a course based off of what I knew. But as I went along, I realized that there's still a lot that I don't know. It was almost like I was skipping steps. And everyone's on their own journey, and you fall in when you fall in. But I craved more alignment and more clarity. And as I moved deeper into my spirituality, I started feeling more authentic, and that's very big for me. Has always been so. I'm one of those people who I can't keep my mouth shut when something doesn't align with me, and I realized that spirituality gave me that voice, that unapologetic voice in my business. And when I started noticing that my business is growing really because I'm tapping into my intuition, I fell in love, and I won't say I became obsessive about it, but I really tried to integrate it with everything that I did, based all my decisions on my intuition. And as I started doing that and testing it, it just gave me amazing results and made me feel amazing. It made me align myself with my business. And when I started seeing that, I really noticed that my business is an extension of me. It's not separate. And when I realized that, it really filtered into how I coached spiritual entrepreneurs, how I did business, how I did sales calls. All of those things really came off the back of me making that very important decision of I'm going to do what's best for me. And what felt best for me every single time is including my spirituality in my business. And it also made me sign more aligned clients. And that's something that I was really craving, people who believed in me, people who, co-created with me, and not me being the kind of like the authority. And that's really like why I decided to do that at the end of the day. But it was a process, and I feel every few months I go even deeper into that process. So I may even go more deeper into it as the time goes by, but that's basically how it started and where it came from.
Oh, that's amazing, because it is true, right? That when you're coming from alignment, from integrity, from a heart-centered place, right, then things flow, because you're tapping into what your soul purpose is. But so just to step back a little bit, so when you say, because business means so many things to different people, what do you mean by business? Is it, for entrepreneurs? Is it for, wellness coaches or health coaches? Who is your ideal client that you work with? And I know it's transitioned over time, but for now,
Yeah. Yeah, now my ideal client is really healers who want to transition into coaching. And even if they new healers and energy workers, light workers, tarot readers that kind of don't know how to get their business started and don't know how to get clients easier. That's my ideal client right now. And also those who want to transition into coaching and perhaps host a group program or anything like that. I help them set up the processes they need to achieve the consistent stream of income with their business.
Wonderful. Yeah, because it is so challenging, right? Like whether you're a healer or you produce a product or whatever, right? We all have this area that we're passionate about, we're an expert at, but that doesn't translate to getting people to come and purchase your services or purchase your product. You still have to have that business acumen. I came from the opposite end that I used to be in the business world, and I switched over to starting to coach after I had my health stuff. And so, it's been that flip. And so I can step into a lot of it. So for me, it was actually trusting that I had that healing inside of me as opposed to the business. So it's wonderful that there are people like you that have both, but can guide a healer through having a business at the same time, because often it's not an easy transition.
No, there's a lot of things that happen along the way. Like a small example is what I've found with my ideal client is that there's kind of like a money mindset situation happening there, and it's really taking them through a progressive process in making them experience raising their prices and implementing processes for themselves. And because you can't just tell someone, whether it's a healer or a spiritual coach or a mindset coach, like you can't just tell someone raise your prices and you'll have more income. You can't just do that. You have to take them through a progressive process so that they feel aligned with every up leveling, if that makes sense. So yeah.
And so how long, like I know it's different, but you must have set programs that you offer. So if someone came to you and said, I'm starting to do this healing practice, what would you do with them?
So I would definitely first want to speak to them and know more about them and just see where they are in their mindset and if they have any sort of processes that they're following. Usually they have some processes that they follow, and then I ask them about that so that we can see what of that isn't working. Because maybe they have some things that can work, but it just needs a little bit like a tweak here and there. So that's what I would do first. And then I do have a program that basically takes you through some of these static steps that are always the same. So it's basically the processes that they need to follow and some mindset modules. And that's a 12-week program. I enroll them in that program. And then I have an extra like VIP mastermind group if they want to join that as well, where I do extra coaching calls, like group coaching calls. And I also have experts every 2 weeks in that coaching group. And I've seen amazing results. We had Joanna yesterday, and it was amazing. The previous coach that we had was Mary Ann. She's a soul coach. So the experts that we get in to my like VIP mastermind are coaches that help these healers and spiritual coaches just connect more, help them manifest, help like kind of break down those steps so that they have more confidence in their like in whatever they're doing spiritually. Because even though I think there's like I won't say a misconception, and maybe not everyone feels this way, but for me this was very true. I didn't have the confidence to just step out as a healer. I'm only recently doing healing, like distance healing and online like readings for people, just because I also had to go through my progression. So it's that confidence. So those expert coaching calls really help them to foster that unapologetic confidence in their gift. So that's the process that I take them through. I do one-on-one coaching as well, but only if someone completed or invested in the program itself first. I've seen that that's I think we go through kind of filtering when people are ready, and we need to respect everyone's journeys. Not everyone, even if they need you, it doesn't mean that they are ready, because when you have a coach, and a business coach especially, the mindset needs to be there. You need to be focused. It's almost like, as a healer, I feel we're very in tune with our feminine side, with the flow of things, with alignment, what we need to do to feel good, what we need to do to serve. But we need that masculine mindset part to get us moving, and to get us to start things and take action. So that's basically what I take my clients through.
Okay, that's wonderful, because it's true, right? Like it is the exception for people to go, oh, I'm a tarot card reader, or I do Reiki, or I'm an energy healer, and then just step into the practice, right? There's always so many cultural issues, cultural norms, is that woo-woo, that psycho, who do you think you are to be doing that, from external, but also the internal, and to really come to trust yourself and trust that you are helping people, it is huge. So how do you get people to move towards trusting their spirit, their abilities?
Wow. So it's sometimes it is a bit of a journey. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes it's a bit of a journey, but how I help my clients specifically is really, first, if there's any mindset blocks connected to deeper issues, or not issues, but past experiences, we first sort that out, and we first look at that and see if they can work on that a little bit, with whatever modality we choose to take them through to release that experience. Because something that I found with myself, and that's what I'm kind of mirroring in my business, is I really struggled with a lot of big mindset blocks because I didn't release traumas, or look at them and face them and acknowledge that it happened. So that really happens in the first part. And then what I do is I take them through a process that I absolutely love, and it's Dr. John Demartini's value determination system. And we do that with them first, so that they can see where does their goals need to be if they want to reach a certain result. Where does how does their values present now? And how does that perhaps need to adapt for them to reach those goals and those results? So we first align them with their own values, and then we take those values and we align them to their business. And usually once we get to that part, we go into their ideal client, and once they see how their clarity on their values start filtering into their business, clarity on their ideal client, they, at that point, they already have had some success. Let's say they booked a call, or they signed a client, or something happened out of alignment with their values, and aligning themselves with their business. So it's really a process. But for me, shortly summarizing it, it's really getting them to a point where they try something and it either works or it doesn't. But it's kind of also instilling this concept of testing in them and making them aware, if you're in business, any business, there will be really great moments, and maybe there will be some low moments that's not so successful. And it's taking them through that and holding space for them while they do that. And when they see and when they're witnessed while they do that by someone, it's almost as if something opens up in them, and it's almost as if they step into that confidence themselves. Yeah, so I kind of just give them the tools, and I just hold space for them while they do that on the sidelines, and then they just step into it once they are aligned with their values, once they have clarity, because that's really the thing that I think is missing. If something isn't working in your business, it's clarity on who you want to serve, what you want to do, how you want to do it. So it's really breaking down what do they feel unclear about. And then once they feel clear and they have that clarity, it's almost like the clarity just really sparks the confidence in them.
And it is amazing, right? Like I've certainly found through, a process of elimination and, not doing so well, is that, if you're coming at it from a place of, I need to make some money, it's never going to work, right? It's always got to come from, how can I help people? What services do I offer? And then from there, when you promote it, is like, I think it's always got to be about your client and what did they get out of it, right? What is in it for them? And if you can align the two with what you're offering and what they can get out of it, then you can have that energy connection that will then help them be more successful. And then once again, that's the clarity, right?
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, so this is a question that always astounds me, and it's different for every single person. So what does spirituality mean to you?
Okay. Spirituality means to me that I can be authentic whenever I want to. And that's something, like I mentioned earlier, extremely important to me. I'm completely unfulfilled and out of touch, disconnected if I'm not able to speak my truth. And because I've realized how well I perform overall when I speak my truth, I can't go without it anymore. I refuse to go without it anymore. So spirituality to me means that I can express myself however I want to and still be accepted and loved, unconditionally accepted and loved. And to me, that's all I really need. So yeah, that's what spirituality means to me.
Okay, that's kind of enough. So question then, when you were not owning your voice, were not speaking your voice, how did that feel to you? Because everyone's, a lot of times people will say, well, how do I know, right? Like people that are just becoming more aware, just opening up. How does it present itself to you when you're not speaking your voice?
Wow, like first thing that popped into my mind was the clients that you sign drain you because you're teaching something or you're coaching something or you're helping someone that you don't really want to. It's because of the money. That's why if you're doing this because of the money first, that's why it won't work. Because when clients drain you and when you teach things that you don't believe in, or you're just, like we say, doing it for money, maybe because it's easier, or maybe you just don't have clarity yet, but firstly your clients drain you, and secondly you start overcompensating to keep the clients that drain you. And when you overcompensate, that's when you go into overwhelm, and then you burn out. And then what happens is you burn out, and perhaps you make a big decision. You're like, okay, I'm not going to allow this anymore, I'm going to try again. And then you just go back into the cycle and you burn out every 2 months. Burnout means different things, like is different for different people. For me, burnout was I hated my business for a good 3 weeks. Every time I burned out, I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to help people. People don't want my help, kind of like the victim mentality. So maybe that's kind of the end of the cycle. If you find yourself in the cycle of consistently ending up in the victim mentality, then that is a big sign that something needs to happen. You need to connect. You need to ask yourself. You need to really evaluate what you want, because this really, all of this that we're speaking about, all the things that may not work, is because we don't know what we want, because we think we need to want things that other people approve of. And when I realized that, it's never been about the money for me. It's never been about, I don't know, whatever, the luxury of it. I know I will have that one day. I actually have that right now. What am I talking about? Like, I like when I realized it wasn't about the material side of things, my gratitude just shot through the roof. It was absolutely amazing. The unconditional love I had for myself and for what I did and for the service that I'm providing. So yeah, once I realized that, and I realized that if I live where I live right now, which is awesome, if I live here for the rest of my life and I do this, I would still be happy, because this is all I need. And it's really about sometimes, being willing to be grateful. And I think it ties in with the victim mentality. When you're so stuck in that victim mentality, it's really hard to be grateful, and to express the gratitude and to raise yourself to that vibration of gratitude. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember what the question was, but anyway, yeah. So once I realized,
I love what you're saying though, so keep going.
yeah. Once I realized that I already have what I want, yep. I became of better service, and I started speaking my I don't know, this is going to sound weird, but my purpose truth, because where I wasn't shy or scared to say, this is how I want to do it, and this is how I want to help people. And yeah, it's really when I started owning that this is not conditional for me. And that's a big thing, I think, as a spiritual entrepreneurs, not need to get to, but if you can get there by doing the work, the inner work consistently, if you can get to a space where you say, I'm not putting conditions on my success. I'm not saying I will do this if I reach that. It doesn't work like that. That's what I tried. I tried it many times and it doesn't work like that. You need to do your part. You need to do that. You need to give that 50% for these things to start falling in place for you.
Yeah, and it's that, that manifesting, right? So focusing on the emotions that you want to feel, right? That heart-centeredness, the integrity, the clarity, and then doing something every day towards achieving it. Because we both know that the work it's challenging, right? It's hard. Yeah. There's days where it's just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to escape today and go watch a movie or read a book or just not do it, because sometimes it's just too much. But it's so worth it, right? Obviously if you reach that place, and that's amazing considering how young you are, to be at that place already, right? Where you know what you want to do and where you want to go, and that you're grateful for where you are, right? Things always change, right? You do something and it's like, a pillar, like climbing a mountain, right? You reach a plateau and you sit there in gratitude and peace and joy. And then it's like, okay, but there's still some more mountain to climb. So we'll get to that another day, but enjoy that moment where you are right now. But I also wanted to really, where are we at? Just got a few minutes left. Come back to that loving yourself and how important that piece is, because a lot of people don't. So do you remember asking yourself if you loved yourself?
Yeah, I definitely remember that. And it was a very big no. It was a very big no. It was like, and I mean, we broke that down. And the thing that was just give me 1 sec, sorry.
And while we're bringing Yolandi back, I was just going to share with you. So this drink that I'm drinking is actually an immune booster. It's got a whole bunch of vitamins in it, and it actually tastes pretty good. So I'd say one of the biggest things that you could do for yourself right now with what's going on in the world is to boost your immune system. So if you want information about that, I can tell you, but it's really good. Anyways, back to loving yourself.
Sorry about that. My
That's okay.
partner's phone was ringing and yeah, it's very loud. Okay. So, we broke it down, like what caused it. And the biggest thing that was standing in the way of me loving myself was this constant stream of self-judgment. And I never knew it until I started working with Johanna, who, as I spoke, she would point out, okay, but that's just judging yourself. And it kind of sunk in how much I'm not letting myself just be who I am, and how much I'm limiting myself. So it's when we limit ourselves and don't explore what we're feeling, don't look at the shadow side, you know, the sides that maybe did weird things when we were younger, the side that just needed some mentoring and maybe made some bad decisions. We're still judging those sides of us. And when I saw myself from that perspective, from those pieces of me, you know, who made the mistakes, or, you know, made decisions that led to maybe bigger things, traumas and stuff, when I started looking at it from that perspective again, going into that part of me and seeing that I just did what I thought was the best decision in that moment, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, I started having way more compassion with where I am, because what I also realized was I'm way too hard on myself. I'm 27 and I've achieved a lot. And when I started looking at it from both sides, you know, where am I now and where was I? I really pieced together where I was limiting myself. And like I said, the biggest thing was that self-judgment stream and cycle, constantly judging everything, doubting myself, doubting what I was speaking about online, doubting the results of my programs, doubting the results of my clients, doubting all of these things. And what the problems were there was actually not the results of my clients or it was that I had misaligned clients because I was working for the money and I wasn't stepping into my truth. And as I, like you said, that elimination process is actually freaking beautiful, because that's what happened. And when I did that, I don't know, it's freaking amazing. I just love myself. And I, you know, it's still kind of a weird feeling for me, because not weird, just it's still very warm and fuzzy. Maybe it will be like this forever, but I'm still very warm and fuzzily. I'm still loving myself, because I just saw what I've been through, and you know, I started respecting my journey, because it's been awesome. And it's really that self-respect, you know, that I think counteracted that self-judgment, which led to this, me loving myself.
Well, that's so wonderful, because it's a challenge, right? I was the same way when someone said, "Do you love yourself?" And it was like, no, and what, tears. Excuse me. And it's been a journey, right? But it does have to be that shadow side, right? All the things that you look back and go, why did I do that? But it's as you said, right? It's just you were doing the best with what you could at the time. And so hindsight, you can't do hindsight, right? Can't do it. Don't, because then you judge yourself. So because you're coming with that more wisdom, right? What is that expression that wisdom is wasted, or youth is wasted on whatever, you know what I mean? That the young need more wisdom.
Yeah.
Old age, I don't know. Anyways, whatever it is. All right. Thank you very much, Yolandi. I really appreciate you being here today. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so please come to my community. I have a community, a group on Facebook. That's basically where I hang out the most of the time. And of course, my personal profile. So my personal profile, um, the link to that, I believe, would be www.facebook.com/YVRLJ. That's my personal profile link. My community link is www.facebook.com/groups/Sacred Leader Society.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. And do you have a website?
No, everything on Facebook.
Oh, we're working through that. Or you can go to to Speak Up and Empower, and
Yeah.
Yolanda is one of the expert members there. And when is your Real Talk?
It's on Wednesdays. So Wednesdays, and we're working on changing the name of the page. But for now, it's Real Talk at Speak Up and Empower, Real Talk Business at Speak Up and Empower, the page name. So you can go and search for that on Facebook as well.
Okay. And what are you moving towards? The new Real
Yes,
Talk?
it's gonna evolve. It's gonna change to Real Talk for spiritual entrepreneurs. So really everything that you need as a spiritual entrepreneur, and we're gonna have themes every month on how you can embody different modalities if you want to in your business, and maybe even up level your coaching style or add some things to your list that you help clients with. So it's going to be awesome, and we're going to that change hopefully will happen next week. But if not, we will try our best to get in touch with Facebook to let that happen.
All right. Thanks again, Yolandi. So this was Real Talk Spirituality at Speak Up and Empower. And Speak Up and Empower is an online community of heart-centered people that are driven to create the world that they envision for themselves. We are a membership-based community, and actually we're going into lockdown on June 1st. And so after that, you will have to be a member to join us. But we're always looking for new members, and it's pretty inexpensive. It's just www.speakupandempower.com. And so join me again next Thursday at 12:30 for Real Talk, Speak Up and Empower, conversations that change the way we think. So, all right. Thanks, Yolandi, and bye, everyone.
Thank you.